Welcome, everyone. Today, you are not simply watching another book summary. You are about to discover ideas that can completely change the way you see yourself and everyone around you. Have you ever wondered why people lie, betray, become jealous, or suddenly change? Why do emotions often defeat logic? Why do we keep repeating the same mistakes, even when we know better? The answers are hidden inside human nature. The book we explore today is considered one of the most powerful and thought-provoking books on human behavior. It has reached millions of readers across the world and has transformed the way people understand relationships, success, influence, and themselves. Its lessons have been studied by business leaders, entrepreneurs, psychologists, creators, and anyone who wants to understand what truly drives human behavior. This is not just another motivational lesson. It is an invitation to see people and yourself with greater clarity. Some of these truths may surprise you. Some may even make you uncomfortable. But once you begin to understand them, you'll notice patterns you never saw before. You'll become harder to manipulate, better at making decisions, and more confident in dealing with people. At the same time, you'll improve your English through clear vocabulary, natural expressions, and real-life examples that are easy to follow. So, today, you are learning much more than a language. You are training your mind to think more deeply and observe the world more wisely. Are you ready? Let's begin with the first law, the law of irrationality. Law 1. The law of irrationality. Before we understand other people, we must first understand ourselves. Most of us believe we make decisions with logic. We like to think, I always think carefully before I act. But is that really true? Imagine this. You wake up in a bad mood. On your way to work, someone says something small. Normally, you would ignore it. But today, you become angry. You argue. You regret your words only a few minutes later. What changed? Not the situation. Your emotions. This is the first law of human nature. People are emotional first and logical second. Our feelings often make the decision. Our minds simply create reasons to justify it. Think about the last time you bought something you didn't really need. Was it because it was essential? Or because it made you feel successful, comfortable, or accepted by others? Emotions quietly influence our choices every single day. Fear tells us to avoid opportunities. Pride stops us from admitting mistakes. Jealousy makes us compare ourselves with others. Anger pushes us to say words we later wish we could take back. These emotions are powerful. But the biggest danger is this. Most people don't even realize they are being controlled by them. They believe they are thinking clearly, when, in reality, their emotions are holding the steering wheel. That's why intelligent people sometimes make terrible decisions. It's not because they lack intelligence. It's because emotions can overpower intelligence. The first step toward wisdom is not becoming more intelligent. It is becoming more aware. The next time you feel angry, don't react immediately. Pause. Ask yourself, am I responding to the facts or to my emotions? That one question can save relationships. It can protect your career. It can even change your life. Master your emotions, and you'll begin to master yourself. Because the strongest person in the room is not the loudest. It's the one who stays calm when everyone else loses control. And this is only the beginning. Law 2, the law of narcissism. Now let's move to the second law. Here's a question. What is the one thing almost every person wants, but rarely admits? Attention, respect, to feel important. Deep inside, every human being wants to be seen, heard, and valued. This is the law of narcissism. Don't misunderstand the word. It doesn't mean everyone is arrogant. It means that every person naturally pays more attention to themselves than to anyone else. Think about a conversation. While someone is speaking, many people aren't really listening. They're waiting for their turn to talk. They're thinking about what they will say next, or wondering how they look. Human beings naturally see the world through their own eyes. Imagine your friend is telling you about a difficult day. Instead of listening carefully, you interrupt and say, "That reminds me of something that happened to me." Without realizing it, the conversation becomes about you. This happens every day. That's why people often feel misunderstood. Here's the secret. The people who make others feel important become unforgettable. When you truly listen, people trust you. When you ask sincere questions, people open their hearts. When you remember someone's name or notice something they care about, you make them feel valued, and that feeling is powerful. Think about the people you enjoy being around. Are they always the funniest? The richest? The most successful? Not necessarily. Usually, they are the ones who make you feel comfortable. They listen without judging. They speak with kindness. They make you feel that your thoughts matter. That is a rare skill. And because it is rare, it is valuable. So the next time you meet someone, talk a little less. Listen a little more. Instead of asking, "How can I impress this person?" ask, "How can I understand this person?" That single change can improve your friendships, your relationships, your career, and your life, because people may forget your words, but they rarely forget how you made them feel. Now that we understand people's need for attention, let's discover another hidden truth. Law 3, the law of role-playing. Now, let's explore the third law. Have you ever met someone who seemed kind at first, but later became someone completely different? Or someone who always smiled, yet secretly disliked you? Why does this happen? Because human beings wear masks. Not the masks you can see, the masks they show through their behavior. People rarely reveal who they truly are in the beginning. Instead, they present the version of themselves they want others to see. They want to appear confident, friendly, successful, strong. But appearances can be deceiving. Imagine you're in a job interview. You smile. You choose your words carefully. You try to make a good impression. That's natural. Almost everyone does it. But the real personality appears later. When pressure increases, when things don't go as planned, when disappointment, anger, or success reveal what's hidden inside. That's why first impressions can be misleading. Instead of judging people by their words, watch their actions. Words can be rehearsed. Actions are much harder to fake. A person may promise loyalty, but disappear when you need them most. Someone may speak politely, yet treat others with disrespect when no one is watching. Someone may praise you in public, but envy your success in private. Actions always tell the deeper story. This doesn't mean you should become suspicious of everyone. It means you should become a better observer. Notice how people treat waiters. Notice how they react to criticism. Notice how they behave when they gain power. These small moments reveal character more than long conversations ever can. And here's another important lesson. You also wear masks. Sometimes you hide your fears. Sometimes you pretend everything is fine when it isn't. Sometimes you try so hard to please others that you forget who you really are. Real strength comes from being authentic, not perfect. The more honest you are with yourself, the easier it becomes to recognize honesty in others. Remember this simple rule. Don't judge people by what they say. Judge them by what they repeatedly do, because character is not built in one moment. It is revealed through consistent actions. Law 4. The law of compulsive behavior. Let's move to the fourth law. Have you ever promised yourself, "This time I'll be different"? Maybe you decided to wake up early, exercise every day, control your anger, or stop wasting time. But after a few days, you found yourself doing the same old things again. Why? Because most people don't control their habits. Their habits control them. Our past quietly shapes our present. The experiences we had as children, the people we spent time with, the words we heard again and again, all of these leave invisible marks on our minds. Without realizing it, we begin to repeat the same patterns. Someone who grew up with constant criticism may always doubt themselves. Someone who was rarely trusted may struggle to trust others. Someone who learned to avoid problems may continue running away from challenges, even as an adult. The pattern changes its shape, but it often stays the same. Imagine a man who keeps changing jobs. Every time he leaves, he says, "My boss was the problem." But after the fifth job, the same conflict appears again. Was it really just bad luck? Or was there a pattern he never noticed? This is the power of compulsive behavior. When we refuse to understand ourselves, we repeat ourselves. The good news is this: patterns can be broken, but first, they must be recognized. Instead of asking, "Why does this always happen to me?" ask, "What habit or belief keeps creating the same result?" That question changes everything. Growth begins with awareness. When you notice your repeated reactions, you gain the power to change them. You are no longer living on autopilot. You are making conscious choices. Remember, your past may explain your behavior, but it does not have to decide your future. Every day gives you another chance to choose differently. Every small change creates a new pattern, and over time, a new life. Law 5. The law of defensiveness. Now, let's explore another powerful truth about human nature. Have you ever tried to correct someone only to make them even more upset? You wanted to help, but instead of listening, they started defending themselves. Why does this happen? Because every person wants to believe they are a good, intelligent, and reasonable human being. When someone challenges that image, the mind immediately goes into defense mode. Instead of asking, "Could I be wrong?" most people ask, "How can I prove I'm right?" This is why arguments often go nowhere. Each person is trying to protect their pride, not discover the truth. Imagine a manager telling an employee, "You made a mistake." If the manager speaks with anger or disrespect, the employee may stop listening completely. Instead of thinking about the mistake, they begin thinking about how to defend themselves. The conversation becomes a battle, not a lesson. The same thing happens in families, between friends, even in relationships. Sometimes people don't reject advice because it's bad. They reject it because it hurts their ego. This doesn't mean you should never correct others. It means you should understand how the human mind works. If you want someone to listen, don't attack their pride. Ask questions instead of making accusations. Speak with respect instead of anger. Help them discover the answer, rather than forcing it upon them. And here's something even more important. You must also watch your own reactions. The next time someone criticizes you, don't become defensive immediately. Pause for a moment. Ask yourself, is there even a small part of this that might be true? That single question can help you grow faster than years of empty praise. Because criticism is not always an attack. Sometimes it is a mirror, and mirrors don't always show us what we want to see. They show us what we need to see. The strongest people are not those who are never wrong. They are the ones who are willing to learn when they are wrong. Every piece of honest feedback is an opportunity to become wiser. So don't fear criticism. Use it. Learn from it. Grow through it. Because the moment you stop defending your ego, you begin improving your life. Law 6. The Law of Envy. Now, let's uncover one of the most hidden emotions in human nature. It is an emotion that almost everyone feels, but very few people admit. That emotion is envy. Most people will never say, "I'm jealous of you." Instead, they hide it behind criticism, sarcasm, or cold behavior. Why? Because admitting envy hurts the ego. It feels uncomfortable. So the mind finds another explanation. Imagine two friends who start their careers together. For years, they support each other. Then, one friend becomes successful. He gets a promotion, buys a new house, or achieves a lifelong dream. Instead of feeling happy, the other friend suddenly becomes distant. He stops calling. He begins finding faults in every achievement. What changed? Not the friendship, the comparison. Human beings naturally compare themselves with others. We compare our looks, our money, our careers, even our happiness. The problem is, comparison often steals gratitude. The less we appreciate our own progress, and envy grows quietly. But here's the truth. Someone else's success does not reduce your chances of succeeding. Life is not a competition where only one person can win. There is room for many people to succeed. The wisest people don't compare. Stay kind. Real confidence doesn't come from being better than someone else. Pause for a moment. Remember your own journey. Celebrate your progress. And let other people's success motivate you. Law 7. The Law of Grandiosity. Now, let's talk about something that can quietly destroy a person's future. Success. Yes, success itself can become dangerous. At first, this may sound strange. Isn't success something we all want? Of course it is. But success brings a hidden challenge. The more successful we become, the easier it is to believe that we are always right. This is called grandiosity. It begins very quietly. A person achieves something important. People start praising them. They receive attention, respect, recognition. Slowly, they stop listening. They believe they already know everything, and that's when growth begins to disappear. Imagine a business owner who builds a successful company. For years, he listens to his team. He learns from mistakes. He keeps improving. But after becoming famous, he starts ignoring advice. He believes no one understands as much as he does. Every suggestion feels like criticism. Every disagreement feels like disrespect. At first, nothing seems wrong. But over time, small mistakes become big problems. Because no one is brave enough to tell him the truth. History is full of talented people who failed, not because they lacked ability, but because they believed they could never fail. Confidence is powerful, but overconfidence is dangerous. The moment you think, I have nothing left to learn, you stop growing. The wisest people remain students for life. No matter how much they achieve, they stay curious. They ask questions. They welcome feedback. They understand that knowledge has no finish line. Here's a simple habit you can practice. Whenever you succeed, don't only celebrate. Also, ask yourself, what can I still improve? That single question keeps your mind humble. And humility is not weakness. It is wisdom. Remember, the tallest tree is the one most exposed to the strongest winds. The higher you rise, the more important it becomes to stay grounded. True greatness is not measured by how much success you have. It is measured by how willing you are to keep learning after success arrives. Because the moment pride closes your ears, growth quietly walks away. Law 8. The Law of Aimlessness. Now, let's explore a law that affects millions of people, often without them realizing it. Have you ever felt busy all day, but accomplished nothing that truly mattered? You wake up, go through your routine, complete one task after another, and before you know it, the day is over. The weeks pass, the months pass, even years pass. Yet, deep inside, you feel like you're moving, without actually going anywhere. This is the law of aimlessness. Many people spend their entire lives reacting to whatever happens around them. They follow the crowd. They chase short-term pleasure. They live from one distraction to the next. But they never stop to ask one important question. What kind of life do I truly want to build? Imagine a ship in the middle of the ocean. It has a powerful engine, a skilled captain, and plenty of fuel. But there is one problem. It has no destination. Without a destination, every direction feels right, and every direction is wrong. Human life works the same way. Talent is not enough. Hard work is not enough. Even intelligence is not enough. Without a clear purpose, it's easy to waste your energy on things that don't really matter. That's why successful people don't just work hard. They work with direction. They know what they are trying to achieve, and every small action moves them closer to that goal. This doesn't mean your purpose has to be something extraordinary. Your purpose could be becoming a better parent, a better student, a better leader, or simply becoming the best version of yourself. The important thing is to move with intention. Instead of asking yourself every morning, "What do I have to do today?" Try asking, "What is one action I can take today that brings me closer to the life I want?" That single question changes your focus. Little by little, your daily choices begin shaping your future. Remember, a meaningful life is not created by one big decision. It is built through thousands of small decisions made with purpose. So don't let life push you in random directions. Choose your direction. Choose your purpose. And let every step, no matter how small, take you closer to the person you want to become. Law 9. The Law of Conformity. Now let's talk about a force that influences us every single day, often without us even noticing. Have you ever agreed with a group, even though, deep inside, you knew they were wrong, or stayed silent, simply because everyone else believed something different? If your answer is yes, you're not alone. This is one of the strongest forces in human nature, the desire to belong. From the moment we are born, we want to be accepted by our family, our friends, our classmates, our colleagues. Being part of a group makes us feel safe, but sometimes that same desire causes us to ignore our own judgment. Imagine you're sitting in a classroom. The teacher asks a simple question. You know the correct answer, but everyone around you gives a different one. Suddenly, you begin to doubt yourself, not because you're wrong, but because everyone else thinks differently. This is the power of conformity. The crowd can influence even intelligent people. History has shown us that large groups can make terrible decisions, not because everyone is foolish, but because very few people have the courage to stand alone. Following the crowd feels comfortable. Thinking for yourself requires courage. That doesn't mean the crowd is always wrong. Sometimes the majority is right. But wisdom comes from asking questions, not from blindly following others. Before accepting an opinion, ask yourself, do I truly believe this? Or am I believing it because everyone else does? That one question can protect you from countless mistakes. Some of the greatest inventors, scientists, and leaders in history were once criticized for thinking differently. If they had simply followed the crowd, the world would never have changed. So don't be afraid to think independently. Listen to others. Learn from them. But don't lose your own voice in the process. True confidence isn't agreeing with everyone. It's having the courage to stand by the truth, even when you're standing alone. Remember, the crowd may tell you where everyone is going, but only your own judgment can tell you whether it's the right direction. Law 10. The Law of Aggression. Now, let's explore one of the most misunderstood parts of human nature. When you hear the word aggression, you probably imagine shouting, fighting, or violence. But aggression is not always loud. Sometimes it is completely silent. A person may smile at your face while secretly hoping you fail. They may agree with you, but quietly work against you. They may never raise their voice, yet their actions slowly damage your confidence. This is hidden aggression, and because it is hidden, it is often more dangerous than open conflict. Imagine you share exciting news with a friend. You say, "I finally achieved my goal." Instead of celebrating with you, they reply, "Well, let's see how long that lasts." The words sound harmless, but they leave a painful feeling. This is how hidden aggression often appears. Through sarcasm, constant criticism, passive-aggressive comments, or small acts that slowly break trust. Why do people behave this way? Most of the time, because they are fighting battles inside themselves. They may feel insecure, ignored, or powerless. Instead of dealing with those emotions in a healthy way, they direct them toward others. But here's an important lesson. Don't respond to hidden aggression with more aggression. That only makes the conflict grow. Instead, stay calm. Observe carefully. Set healthy boundaries. And choose your battles wisely. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every argument deserves your energy. Sometimes, the strongest response is quiet confidence. And here's something even more important. Look at your own behavior. Have you ever made a sarcastic comment because you were frustrated? Ignored someone instead of speaking honestly? Or criticized another person's success because you were disappointed with your own progress? We all have moments like these. The goal isn't to become perfect. The goal is to become aware, because awareness gives us the power to choose a better response. Real strength is not controlling other people. It is controlling yourself. When you learn to manage your anger, your words become wiser, your relationships become healthier, and your peace becomes stronger. Remember, people cannot always control how they feel, but they can learn to control how they act. And that is one of the greatest signs of emotional maturity. Law 11. The Law of Death Denial. Now we've reached the final law. It may sound serious at first, but it carries one of the most powerful lessons in the entire book. Most people avoid thinking about death. They keep themselves busy. They chase money, success, entertainment, and endless distractions, as if life will last forever. But the truth is, every one of us has a limited amount of time, and strangely, it is this limit that gives life its greatest value. Imagine that someone gave you a jar filled with 1,000 gold coins. Every day, one coin disappears forever. Would you waste them? Probably not. You would spend each one carefully. Our lives are very similar. Every sunrise is one day less. Every birthday reminds us that time keeps moving, and no one can stop it. This isn't a reason to live in fear. It's a reason to live with purpose. When we remember that our time is limited, we stop delaying the things that truly matter. We spend more time with the people we love. We forgive more easily. We worry less about small problems. We become grateful for ordinary moments. A walk with family. A conversation with a friend. A quiet sunset. These simple moments become priceless. Many people wait for the perfect time to follow their dreams. They say, "I'll start next year. I'll do it when life becomes easier." But life rarely becomes perfect. The perfect moment is often the one we already have. So don't let fear keep you from living. Don't let comfort stop your growth. Don't let tomorrow steal what you can do today. One day, none of us will be remembered for how many hours we spent worrying. We will be remembered for the kindness we showed, the courage we displayed, the lives we touched, and the difference we made. So live boldly. Keep learning. Keep growing. Keep becoming a person who leaves every place a little better than they found it. Because a meaningful life is not measured by its length, but by the way it is lived. Conclusion. Today, you've explored some of the deepest truths about human nature. You learned that emotions can overpower logic, that everyone wants to feel important, that people often wear masks, that habits shape our future, that criticism can become a path to growth, that envy, pride, and conformity quietly influence our decisions, and finally, that our limited time makes every moment valuable. These laws are not meant to make you suspicious of people. They are meant to help you understand them. And more importantly, to understand yourself. Real change doesn't happen by simply reading a book. It happens when you apply one lesson at a time. So, as you leave this video, ask yourself one simple question. Which law describes me the most? And what small step can I take to improve today? That single decision could become the beginning of a completely different life. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who would benefit from these lessons. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep becoming the best version of yourself. Thank you for watching.